And it put enough of an irritated bee in my bonnet where I'm doing this on camera sans makeup. So this is me in the raw. That's what you get. I have a very dear, very long-term, good old friend of mine that I'm friends with on Facebook. And, I mean, we've been friends since we were teenagers. And this is a video response to something he posted on his Facebook that I don't agree with. And the reason I'm doing this here is because he has a YouTube channel. And so not only am I responding to his post, but also if anyone would like to go and subscribe to his channel. He's very witty, very smart. I agree with a lot of what he says. I don't agree with some of what he says, but I don't even agree with everything in my own head all the time. I never agree completely with anyone. So, and he's a great person. So, but, what is this? Okay. Spoil him. Forget this so-called new age shit. If he's hungry, feed him. House a mess? Clean it. His clothes are dirty? Wash them. He's had a long day? Rub his back and give him some love and affection. He's stressed? Just leave him be and pray for him. There is absolutely nothing wrong with catering to your man. Do not let some new age, bitter single broad tell you otherwise. Now, not everything in this post I disagree with. I am all for love and affection. I am all for giving each other space. In fact, I am someone who needs a lot of space. But there are a number of things in this post I disagree with. One, everything it lists below, it says forget this so-called new age shit, and then it lists these things below. And I think that creates a straw man argument for what us so-called single bitter broads are saying. No one thinks the house should be dirty. No one thinks anyone should go hungry. But the thing is, my friend, what you are forgetting is that this is not the 1950s, as I said in my post. And today, women work just as hard outside the home as men do. And what this post presupposes is that the woman in question doesn't have her own full-time job, which keeps her very busy and makes her tired when she comes home at night. She's not going to school to make herself better. She doesn't have kids to take care of, and she doesn't need to sleep. Also, what it does is it builds a false dichotomy on either you do all this and cater to your man, or you do what us so-called bitter single broads would have you do and do none of it, which is ridiculous. I'm going to tell you something. My mother is 2 years away from her PhD. She is the most highly educated person on both sides of my family ever. And when she does get her PhD, she will be the first person on either side of my family, my mother's side, my father's side, to ever get a PhD. And you know why? Because of my father. My father is not the sexist, no housework contributing person you seem to be glorifying in this post. Let me tell you about my father. My father, for many years, has been a wedding photographer. He owns his own business. And so he works out of the house, which means most of his day is spent in the house, where my mom works full-time as a teacher, which if anyone knows anything about being a teacher, Sometimes you work more than the average person and you get paid less and appreciated much, much less. But that's a story for another day. And so after a full day's work, my mom comes home, and often my father will have dinner for her. And she will eat, because if her blood sugar gets too low, being diabetic, she will get woozy and sometimes she will faint. And he knows this, and he loves her, so he feeds her. My father washes his own laundry. He doesn't wash anybody else's, but he washes his. And he prefers to wash his because he doesn't want anybody handling his dirty drawers. He helps contribute around the house because my mother, in about 10 years' time, will need knee replacements in both of her knees. She has carpal tunnel in both of her wrists. She's on beta blockers for having chronic migraines. She's got problems with hypertension, and she's diabetic. And picking up around the house isn't as easy as it used to be, and my father knows this, and so he helps a great deal. And the problem I have with this post is that it makes it seem as if the only reason my mother has fought to become so highly educated is because some single new age bitter broad got into her mind, manipulating her brain cells, making her want an education and shit. What will the world come to next? My mother goes to school full-time and works full-time. My mother goes to school full-time because her mind is voraciously hungry for knowledge and input. My mother is one of the smartest people you will probably never meet. And it's not because some new age bitter broad got in her head and fucked shit up. It's just because she's smart. And my mom works full time because she knows how hard my father works. And she wants to take a bit of that burden off of his shoulders. So she works full time so that he doesn't have to work as hard as he would have to work if she didn't work. So that he can have a day or maybe even a few hours a week off for something to do for himself for a change. This is the age we live in now. Now, not everybody does it this way, and I don't hold it against people who do it the old-fashioned way. If you want to be a housewife and stay at home, whether you're married to a man or a woman, and raise kids, and your union financially can handle that, because in today's economy, it's very hard for a family to get by unless both people are working. And if that's what you want to do, mad respect. Mad respect to you. But not everybody wants to do it that way. Sometimes bitches want to learn. And it's not because we're bitter or manipulated by some angry single broad. It's because, surprise, we have brains. Ta-da! Who knew? Honey, you need to grow up. Go subscribe to my friend. I still have a mad deal of respect for you. I want you to know this. Nothing I'm saying on here is personal. But I think your post is very short-sighted. Not only does it belittle my mother and her bubbling over intellect, but it humiliates my father's contribution to her success. A union isn't just about one person catering to the other, unless you're in some sort of a consensual BDSM slave relationship, which, more power to you. You know, I don't judge, whatever. But nowadays, that's normally not how shit gets done. And my hat's off to every woman out there who works and takes care of her family and goes to school, or maybe doesn't go to school, or whatever, just educates herself. And my hat's off to every man who contributes around the house and makes it so he's not just some burden, another household burden to put on his woman, but loves. You know what? My father respects my mother, and my father finds my mother's intelligence so sexy. And if you let yourself, you just might find it in yourself to be able to find an intelligent woman sexy too. An educated woman sexy too. A hardworking woman sexy too. Someone who may not have the time and energy to wash your drawers for you sexy too. Open your mind. Try it a little bit. That's all I gotta say. Mic drop, and I'm out.